Hey friend, how are you doing? Okay, cool. We're going to get into this training. This is a part one of a very bigger set of training. Like, I wanted to make sure that you have everything that you need to thoroughly build content in a way that works for you. And I'm going to kind of cover a range of ways you can build content. And the reason why I'm doing this is because not everything works for everyone. So I don't want you to think that you've got to stick to a certain way of building content. You can shift, you can change. And look, life happens. And so sometimes we do need to alter the way that we're making content or when we're making that content. But we're going to start at the foundation of this and dive in. And I'm going to share with you along this journey as well some of my formulas. I mean, everything in this I use from time to time depending on season. So let's get into it. So this is content creation part one, and I have a huge focus on Instagram, okay? But you could use some of the reel based stuff or the more thicker reel based stuff for TikTok. For instance, as I go through this and we talk about things from the Instagram point of view, you could create longer form content for TikTok, okay? When you're making videos on TikTok, longer form works better. And when I say longer form, anything above a minute and a half, but onwards, people are looking for longer form content on TikTok. It's almost like the new YouTube, okay? So they're searching that platform almost like also like they would search Google. So I just want you to be aware of that. Now, if you are if you're prioritizing Instagram and that is your primary platform, stick to that. You do not need to have everything everywhere. Okay, but I just wanted to include it just in case you wanted to try that or if that was a platform that you were using as well. Okay, so let's do it. So, Instagram, what you should be doing. Instagram wants you to use everything, okay? And so does TikTok, right? Any platform that we have, they want you to use the features on there and they prioritize the accounts that use the features that are on there. So if you are building a service based business, you should be using everything on the platform. So, not every platform, but as much as you can on the platform in the way you're posting content, in sometimes sharing some content. You don't always have to share other people's content, but the way you share your own content, even in stories and different things, this is what Instagram wants us to do. If you know you are not going live and that's something you want to be doing, it is definitely something you should be doing. People need to hear about your business, and going live is one of the primary ways to build trust. So let's do this. Diving in. Storytelling. Taking your audience on a journey is the most powerful and influential process you can go through. It keeps them engaged, and the more engagement, the more the platforms push your content. When you are creating value based content that is engaging for your audience, that platform is going to prioritize your content, okay, and it's going to push it out because they want to keep people on the platform as long as possible. Okay, so they want you to stay on that platform, okay? They want people to stay on that platform. So they're going to prioritize the types of content that makes people stay on the platform. So that's just something to be aware of. But storytelling, keeping people captivated. People want to go on a journey. They want to be able to visualize, they want to be able to relate. So you should be using stories or story based content to share what it is that you're trying to say. Your own voice. Contrary to popular belief, okay, it's not just about sharing other people's content on what other people have to say. We want to hear your voice in it. So your story, your experience, your tone should be woven through your content and give your audience an idea of who you are. We've got to love a typo. People buy from who they know, like, and trust and get them results. So if we don't understand your voice in your content, if we don't understand who you are and the way you flow and the energy you bring, then how can we know you? If you think about any relationship that you're in, or any relationship that you have with your children, with your spouse, with your parents, with your friends, right? These people know you. Then yes, they know your appearance, they know your face, but they also know your ways. They know your heart when you're speaking, how you're flowing, how your tone shift. That if you sound like this, they're gonna know that you're not okay. Okay, so like how are you weaving in these specific things? One of the things you will always see in my content is this space of vulnerability. I have this whole thing about making vulnerability a vibe. And that is something that's super important to me. And my audience know me for bringing that to the platform. So what do your audience know you for? Who are you in that flow? Are you sharing specifics on your story, specifics on the experiences that you have, and in your own unique tone? I believe that you get to make yourself your own icon and people get to see you for you. So weave your own voice into your content. You should be inviting people to buy. Never get tired of talking about your offers, literally and in your captions. Using CTAs, which are call to actions, tells your people where to go and what action to take. People miss this so much. Now, we will get into this in a thicker way, but a lot of the times we're so set on building inspiration or motivation, and we forget to actually direct our traffic somewhere. We want to create traffic, right? And that is basically bringing people into our world, bringing people into our offers, bringing people into our email lists. We want to attract those people in and be taking them through on a journey. And if you do not tell people where to go, they will not know what action to take, whether that is a comment or clicking a link, writing a word, sharing your posts, whatever it is. But most importantly, inviting people to buy. And that is sharing your offers. After a while, business owners can get really lazy with talking about their offers, or they feel like a broken record, and you are going to. The reality is that you are going to feel like a broken record, or you are going to be in repetition a lot. But this is why you want to get excited about what it is that you're offering. Like we don't need to be tired of what we're offering when we know that it's making a transformation. So what transformation is it making? We want to continuously speak to that audience, and then we want to be telling them, hey, I have got this offer, I have got this transformation that I can supply that need for you, okay, and get you out of that place. And if they don't, if you're not inviting them, how do they know to buy? So CTAs and invitations to buy from you, it is vital. And your offers are amazing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the platform focuses. So remember, we are focusing on Instagram, but I wanted to put TikTok in this as well, just in case you are someone who is utilizing that platform. So Instagram, posts which educate and give value, okay? And you can tell stories with those and all of that jazz, but your posts are going to educate and give value. And this also includes carousels. So a lot of the times carousels are used as a multiple post so that you can educate and give value. Reels, entertain and grow. Reels are going to build traction for you. They're going to build visibility, and they're going to start to build traffic. So reels, they're really short form, and people can have short attention spans. We want to captivate our audience. We want to hook them in, and we're going to get into a lot of the process of that. However, reels are about entertaining and growing your audience. In your stories, that is the place to sell and engage, and also just to build community. You are able to share your day-to-day in stories. You're able to share behind the scenes. It's almost like having a reality TV show for yourself. Okay, so that when people check into your reels, they can see you live in action. They can see what it is that you're doing. They can see you at work. Okay, are you living the lifestyle that you're talking about in the foreground? The foreground is your feed. People come into there, they see the front cover. It's almost like the cover of a movie cover, right? But watching your stories is the movie. So are you showing people who you are. Are you engaging? Are you stimulating conversation? And a lot of times when people reply to your stories, right, they're going into your DMs, and that's a perfect opportunity to start conversations. Lives, like we mentioned earlier, lives are something that you want to be doing. It's a space to educate, it's a space to sell, and it's a space to engage with community. So educating your people is going to let them know, hey, I've got this thing, this is what I do, this is who I am. Then they can ask questions, you can build that engagement, and then you can sell, invite them into your DMs, or literally sell from your stories, okay? Telling them to go to link in bio, using ManyChat, all of that jazz. Lives are a really great way to engage with an audience in real time. Yeah. TikTok, again, Reels, entertain and grow. I would also say with Reels on TikTok, you have got educating, because you're going onto TikTok and building long form content. So your videos can be up to about 10 minutes. So then you can, really educate your people. Stories, you sell and engage. You can do exactly the same process, but also really showing your behind the scenes. Lives, educate, sell, and engage again. And lives on TikTok are a very good way to build your audience, because one of the things that's great about TikTok is that it sends your videos to non-followers, right? A lot of non-followers, it pushes it out there. So this is a really good way to grow your audience on a place like TikTok. So if you want to try that, I advise it. Okay, posts. Add value according to your niche, tips, tricks, and educate. Use these to challenge the thinking around your niche and build savable content. A lot of people don't know this, and I would also say it's savable content and it's also shareable content. So how many times have you come across a quote and you're like, I love that quote, you've shared it to your stories, you've saved it. This is what we mean about savable, shareable content, okay? So if you are ever using quotes or anything like that, this is a good thing to put into something like a post. If you're doing carousels, 5 tips, the tricks to an education post. Posts are something that people want to be saving and sharing, and they are packed with value. Okay, even if it's a string of different quotes around the same area, or depending on what your business is. If you are a fitness coach, it might be 5 steps to shifting weight around your thighs, right? It's super specific. Or whatever your business is, you want to be focused on the specifics of your niche and educating your people through your posts. So whether it's quotes or carousels. Reels, like we said, entertain, show your personality. It's like a catchy hook that makes them stop in their tracks and say, oh my gosh, I resonate, or I like this. Content here can inspire them to take action or educate them. So you can use Reels to educate. You may have seen on some people's Reels where it will say, here's how I helped my client book in 5 more clients, or here's how I help my clients show up online. And then you might put your steps of that in the reel, or you might put it in the captions. There is no right or wrong. I want to make that clear. You can do this the way that you want to do this. And here's the thing, you need to trial and test in accordance to your audience. So it's really important that you're looking over your reels over the course of, and I would always say try something for 30 days, because it takes time with the algorithm. It takes time with people. We're not instant. We do need to go through process. So don't expect to just put something out there and it's done. I had a reel that blew up to 13.5k, and the reels either side of it were at like 1,000. And even on that video, it wasn't that loads of people liked it, but something about that hook drew them in. And then I got a few followers maybe from it. Okay, so it's testing the waters on what is working for your audience. Remember that your audience isn't like everybody else's audience. They're coming to you for a specific thing and for a specific reason. So if your voice is in there and they resonate with that, they're coming in, right? If you're really talking to them through the niche, they're coming in. So you just want to be able to assess what is reading with my audience and make more of that. Stories, interesting spelling, but hey, stories, engagement space, community building, ask questions that get and get them to answer. Sell your products, show what you're offering, welcome them into your life. People stay in a place where they feel welcomed. People stay in a place where they feel welcomed. And here's the thing, sometimes people want to engage, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just want to watch, But if there are people in your stories, they're watching your stories for a reason. So give them something to look at, give them something to watch, give them something to be entertained by, give them something to engage with, and ask them questions. You've got things like your polls and all of those things, like utilize those things. And you may get a load of people who absolutely will show up in your stories and never comment, never like, never share, but they may book with you down the line. Never underestimate that. I've had that many a time. So use your stories, talk in there, get them to engage and talk about your products. This is where it's your space. And this is something that people really need to understand. It is your space. Now, we don't own Instagram. If Instagram crashes, we can lose that, right? We've had that so many times before. And this is why I always say build an email list. We want an email list, right? But when you have that access, you can show people what you like. It is your reality TV show. Now, earlier on, in the earlier offers module, we spoke about what your 3 areas are, that you focus on, whether it's mental, financial, and career. So whatever your 3 are, this is an example, are going to be your pillars. Okay, so there's going to be a mindset piece, there's going to be a financial money piece for me, there's going to be a business piece. Okay, and so this is vital to remember, because when you are building content, we want to build content around those pillars. So there's just something to be aware of. Now, there are going to be sub pillars within those pillars, but you have an overarching umbrella, right? And you've got those 3 areas. So the content pillar becomes mindset, building a business, making money. In layman's terms, really simple. That's what your content pillars are going to be. So whatever yours are, fill in the gap, the blank. Now, let's talk about the umbrellas, right? And these are types of content that you will be making. So we've got inspirational content, we've got educational content, and we've got authority content. Educational content is all about relatability, visibility, likes, shares, and list building. Okay, so when you are creating inspirational content, people are going to relate to it. They're going to be like, I get this, she's talking my language, she knows what I'm going through, she knows what it is, all of that jazz. Inspirational content is going to give you visibility. It's going to be pushed out because it's feel-good content. We all like to feel good. None of us want to feel bad, okay? Visibility or inspirational content is going to bring that visibility because you're making people feel good. People are going to like it more. People are going to share it more. And when you're inviting them, remember those CTAs, when you're inviting them into a place, that's going to build your list. It's also going to build your following on the platform itself. Because when that inspirational content gets pushed out to non-followers, they're going to be like, this girl's speaking my language, I'm following, okay? Educational content, this is going to be providing tips on your niche, building brand awareness, and again, list building. So when you're educating people to think differently or something that they really wanted to know that they didn't know, if your content is teaching that from an educational standpoint, that is going to build awareness. 1, they're going to be finding you. And 2, you're going to be able to welcome them into the list. So if, let's say, for instance, you were giving them 5 steps to, making their own hair care products, right? Let's say you knew about how to do that and you sold ebooks that gave, I say, recipes on specific hair care products that were all natural based, hypothetically. So it may be that you're giving them 5 tips to doing that. And then if they want a free ebook in this same area, and then you're sending them the lead magnet, in exchange for their email address. So that's going to be a way to do that and utilize that. Authority content, which is probably the most powerful content when it comes to selling. So top of the list, sales. Authority content is going to build you sales. Why? Authority content is where we say, here is how I helped my client get X by doing X. Here is how my client got this thing without doing the thing that they didn't want to do. Okay, so where you've got the results with clients, where you've got the results with yourself, the experience, when that is authority content. Here is how I dropped this weight. Here is how I helped my client pivot her business. Here is how I helped my client start a podcast. Here is how I helped my client start a membership. Like, here is how I help my client book this once in a lifetime job. Whatever it is that you help your clients do, or what you've helped them to do, that's where we speak about it in authority content. And that is going to capture people, especially when we get that language right. That is going to capture people's attention because they want that same result. So are you speaking about the results that you're helping your people get? And even if you haven't been working with many clients, you yourself have overcome something that's in that same realm. So are you speaking about that? This is going to help, again, sales, list building, and conversion. We are converting browsers into buyers. We're converting people who are just watching your content into people who come into your community. And that goes through having the conversations. When you put up authority content, it might just stimulate people to have the conversations with you in the DMs and then buy from you. Okay. And so we want to be making sure that we are utilizing authority content. It's the most important content you can create if you're wanting to make sales in your business. But all of them are important in season. Okay. So content types. So we've just done pillars, umbrellas, which is our inspirational educational authority, and types, which are reels, posts, lives. Like we spoke about this earlier. So we know with reels, face to cam. Okay. So this is you talking to the camera, plain and simply. B-roll is any rolling piece of video. So whether you're filming your face, whether you're filming you making something, whether you're filming you sitting at the laptop, whether you're filming yourself doing some movement, whatever it is, it's just in situ. And we see a lot of this kind of content online. And then we've got posts, again, single picture with quotes and carousels, and then going live. So these are your types. Okay, that's what we can do on Instagram when it comes to more so attraction. You've also got stories, of course you have, but we're talking about when we're making actual posts. Now, pillars to umbrellas. So we know this is according to my business. Mindset is one of mine, business, money. Now, I can make inspirational content based on mindset that can be relatable and create visibility, aid likes and shares and all that jazz. And I can do that with education. I can do that with authority. This is what we want to be doing. Okay. So if you take nothing else from this, your content pillars, we want to be using them as a baseline. And then we want to use the umbrellas to build content. We want a reason for content. So a lot of the times people can be making content and just saying, yeah, I just want people to see it. Yeah, I just want to grow followers. That's great. We definitely want that, but we want to go deeper. If we make inspirational content, it will bring in followers. It will gain you visibility. It will gain you reliability or relatability, and then people will come into your domain. So is your content pillars being seen in your content umbrellas? Okay. And so this is a really good time to break this down and be able to say, okay, one of my pillars is fitness, and I'm going to make an authority piece of content because I just helped Jane lose 5 pounds. So I'm going to talk about that in a reel. Okay. That's just an example. Again, business to inspirational to educational and to authority. So it's really good with this to be using all three of these. But if you can double down on authority content, that's really like the authority content of the transformation. What's the transformation you're providing your audience, or you provide people? And when you have that and you understand that, you put that into your authority content, and that gets you sales. That is the truth. Again, money. Right. So pillars, umbrellas, types. So you get to choose and walk through this process. Okay, I've got my pillars. This is the pillar I'm going to use today. This is the umbrella I'm going to use today. And this is the type I'm going to use today. Okay, and so you can mix and match this, whether it's mindset, educational, I'm going to go live. Money, inspirational, I'm going to do a B-roll reel. Business, authority, I'm going to speak to camera, or I'm going to do an educational post. See where we're going here. And like, I am all for making, and I'm going to be talking about real time reels. So making a reel in real time. You've got an idea, you film something, you do the reel. We're going to talk about that, which I think is super important. But when you are thinking about launching specific things, when you are thinking about hitting a certain type of audience, we really want to get clearer and more direct in how we're building that content, in where it sits within our pillars, where it sits in the umbrellas, and where it sits in the types, because each one of these brings about a different result. And in order to get super specific about the results that we want to achieve, we need to get specific about the content that we're making. Okay. So, one, when you are building the content, you establish the content purpose. The most important thing you can do, your content purpose. Why are you posting this content? And I would advise you, which I've got a little document for you, but I would advise you to work backwards. If you know that your launch date is down the line on a specific date, you put that date down and you work backwards. You know your launch date's there. And so where do you get to, put those pillars in place? Where do you get to put those umbrellas in place? And what kind of content type works for those areas? So if you can get that formulated, which when you have it and it is done, it makes making content so much easier and so much more enjoyable. And so I want you to just take your time with this. Take your time to process the information, to really be clear on what your pillars are, because we've done those already. But to be really clear on, okay, these are the umbrellas, and work from what feels easy right now, what feels in flow. If I married this pillar with this umbrella, this is going to feel good. You might feel like there's a section of your pillars, if it's relational, right? And it's all about relationships, you might find that the educational standpoint always flows from you. That's okay. Start from that place. You don't need to overdo this. Remember that business isn't finite. We're going on a journey. And we want to be testing a lot of this stuff over 30 days, looking at our insights on Instagram and seeing how things are shifting, growing, changing, and all of that jazz in order to build up strength around the metrics and understanding what works for your audience. Because at the end of the day, those are the people that we want to speak to. Those are the people we want to attract. So take your time with this, dive in. If you have any questions, please come into the chat and we can discuss them. If you need any help with it, I've got your back. I'm so proud of you. You're doing the damn thing. You're showing up. So keep on keeping on, my sweet queen. Speak to you soon.